A controversial WWE star returned in a SmackDown dark match last night. We've got WWE debut and return updates for Kazuchika Okada and Naomi. And AEW have made another new signing. Find out who in a little bit. So last night, prior to SmackDown, Gable Steveson squared off against Cameron Grimes in a dark match. Interestingly, Steveson used some heelish tactics in this, kicking Grimes while he was down, choking him against the ropes. He did get a nice reaction in the end, when he won the match with a spirit bomb. We've not seen Gable Steveson on TV in quite a while. Oddly enough, I watched back that Baron Corbin match in NXT. What a stinker that was.
Yeah.
But this is following reports that he is going to be backstage at numerous TV tapings in the coming weeks. So I guess they're probably going to want to be doing something with him sooner rather than later. Maybe post-WrestleMania, maybe slightly before, I don't know.
But we've heard this for about 3 years now.
Yeah.
That he's backstage, that there's something. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just don't see him again for a while.
I don't know. Obviously, they know him better than we do because of the limited exposure that we've had to Gable Steveson. But every time I've seen him, I just think, oh, all right.
It seems that more of the shine comes off.
Yeah. And I just don't think
And the hype machine was massive initially
huge.
surrounding his signing, so...
And he was drafted to the main roster and then didn't do anything on the main roster. It's a really, really bizarre situation. I just don't think he's shown the charisma or in-ring skills that I think many of us were expecting him to show by now. In fact, in this whole thing, I feel really, really sorry for Cameron Grimes, who is sparingly used on TV.
Should be
I
used
think
a
the
lot
world
more.
of. I don't know why they called him up. Seemingly without plans for him. He did practically nothing after being called up. He was so pissing entertaining down in NXT.
Maybe he doesn't mind anymore because he's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, fair. I'm sure he wants to wrestle.
Hang up, see people.
I'm sure he wants to. I love him. I think you want to talk about charisma, Cameron Grimes.
For somebody as well
awesome.
who's, he just, completely held NXT in his hand to come up to the main roster and be able to do the same in the limited appearances he's had. Has been really good.
Look at the bloody change in him as well. When he got called up, he's so hench.
He's like
now.
beefed up properly,
Yeah, he's
isn't he?
amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can check the match out online. I watched it. It's all right. Naomi is expected to return to WWE sooner rather than later. Also, from the Wrestling Observer, Trinity Fatu is expected to finish up at the TNA tapings on the 19th and 20th of this month in Kissimmee, Florida, and then return to WWE. The timing indicates, they say, that she could indeed be back at the Rumble. Just a little note on that for you. We've been talking about it loads.
She'd be a huge Rumble return, wouldn't she?
Be great, man. It's the perfect entrance as well, isn't it? All the lights go down, all the neon
crazy
stuff.
Speculation for a few seconds of who is it, and then boom.
The music hits. It's a really good Rumble return. I don't expect her to win the thing, but it'll just be great to see her again. She's gone away. Not that she needed to, but she's proved her worth. She did really, really good work in Impact/TNA. I'm excited to see her back in WWE.
Right in that tag division again. Straight back in there.
Don't do
Let's
that.
keep going.
I just think she's so much fun.
Yeah.
I think she's unbelievably marketable. Kids love her, don't they?
What do you
Just the
remember?
whole
Do you remember we were at
presentation.
33 and she was coming out in moderate daylight and it was still like just going wild. Everybody was just completely into it.
Yeah. She's just awesome, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's great, and I imagine she'll be really, really back to be really glad. Sorry to be back in WWE.
I think it's just
with her
going to
loved
feel
one.
like she's not really went away.
Nah, it's
she's
not
back
been that long,
in the
has
mix.
it?
Yeah.
Good for her. I hope she's getting paid an absolute crap load. More than Charlotte Flair. Speaking of which, we'll do that now, in fact. Charlotte Flair injury update. So Charlotte Flair was injured on the December 8th episode of SmackDown, that tribute to the Troop show. She had the match with Asuka. Flair suffered a torn ACL injury. I'm talking about that sort of stuff a lot today. WWE later stating that Charlotte will be out of action for a projected 9 months. However, in a new interview with Busted Open Radio, Ric Flair providing a bit of an update, quite optimistic stuff.
He said, I was speaking with Dr. Dugan. He's been there 30 years. He said, Ashley is one of the top 3 athletes that they've ever done surgery on. Think about that. We're talking Bo Jackson, the Tommy Johns. He said, we consider her one of the top 3 athletes, not wrestlers, to ever come through the door. Flair continued on to say, her recovery, she's crushing it. She's actually going to come back faster than they'll ever recommend.
I don't know. I was trying to work this out.
Rick should be back next week.
Yeah, this is
on Raw.
This is what I'm thinking, because he's like massively bigging her up, and I don't know if that's Flair's opinion. Him going like, yeah, of course she's going to be back sooner than they expect. She's my daughter. She's Ashley, right? I think that's maybe what it is, or maybe Rick's been given some word. It's like, okay, no, she could be back in 6 months rather than 8.
The more conditioned, I guess, you are, and the more rigorous you train yourself, the more, I guess, the more fighting chance you must have to come back from something like this. If your body's naturally used to recuperating constantly after physical activity, fingers crossed that means that we are going to see Charlotte back in a bit of a shock capacity, but I'd really prefer the company not reveal she's coming back earlier. I think a big shock return for Charlotte would be, a statement moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the timing's probably right for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool if they could do it a month or two earlier. I don't know. You know what? I've really sort of turned a corner with Charlotte Flair. And I've really, really enjoyed what she's done in recent times. Before the injury, I was like, I'm really kind of getting into this. I'm quite enjoying her.
Yeah, it felt like it was kind of like a wilderness year or so where you'd kind of, Charlotte just seemed to kind of be in and around everything you'd expect. And then it has just started to kind of cement. And now the injuries sort of taking things sideways. And as well, now we got Seth, Charlotte and Cora Jade, all with ligament tears.
Rough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not ideal.
No.
What is ideal is Kazuchika Okada leaving New Japan. It was announced by New Japan.
Not for New Japan. It's
not for New Japan.
Tanahashi's going to have to be like player manager.
My subscription expired, so I can see him on AEW or WWR map. It's ideal for me. So it was announced by New Japan Pro Wrestling that he would indeed be leaving the company. He's working a few dates at the beginning of February, but he's on his way out. A little bit of an update as well. According to Sports Illustrated, as well as AEW, there is significant interest from WWE in Okada. We knew that, specifically from Paul Levesque and Shawn Michaels. The interesting bit on this is Levesque is aware of Okada's desire to work at the Showcase of the Immortals, which is something that we didn't know before. It's not a massive surprise or anything, but if that's on his bucket list, I think maybe that's going to tempt him to WWE rather than AEW, who have reportedly made him the better offer at this point.
WrestleMania is it's the Super Bowl, it's the World Series of wrestling, right? For the entire wrestling world, whether you like WWE or not, it is the biggest wrestling event on earth. So I think that it's one of those things where, naturally, I feel a lot of wrestlers are going to want to compete there, but are they going to be able to make him an offer and give him the freedom that he would require? I can't imagine Okada coming in and starting to work 10-minute matches. Like
no.
he's
I don't know. He's getting like that's probably quite appealing to like Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, but Okada's known for these really drawn out, long matches from time to time.
out.
So well, not like drawn out in a bad way, but like well paced, kind of very long matches. And I think that WWE have been known to pepper those in once every 5 or 6 years, but I don't know if they'd give them like an hour or even 40 minutes.
I find it curious, this whole pushing Shinsuke to show that they can use Japanese talent well, when Shinsuke hasn't been used as well as he perhaps should have been for the last...
Not shots.
Like, what is it, 7 odd years now? With Shinsuke, even now, great promos, love the stuff building up, and then he loses every time. I'm not sure he's the best example, but at least he's being pushed. At least he's like a prominent figure on TV. Also, Triple H believes that he's got the right opponents for Okada should he come to WWE specifically. No surprises here. AJ Styles, Finn Balor, who obviously has heaps and heaps of history with from their time in New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. If you had to put money on it now, where do you think he's going?
Part of me wants to say WWE. I think that they're just going to bid massive amounts to outbid Tony. But at the same time, I think Tony's going to say to him, because there's another factor here in that he's married. And so his wife is also more famous than him. She's like a big actress in Japan. So it depends whether, he's able to move his life to America full time.
He's willing to.
But I think that if that's the possibility, then WWE. If not, AEW, I can see being like, here's a mega deal contract. You only need to wrestle like once every 2 months, and sometimes we'll fly you in for a week.
Do you reckon?
And it'll be like an absolute mental offer of like, why, like, how are you justifying that for the amount you're getting back?
To me, he's just another ex-New Japan guy. Amazing. Obviously, Okada is incredible. But in AEW, he's just another ex-New Japan guy who might end up getting lost in the shuffle. I think he stands out more in WWE. I'm more excited about the potential matches and storylines in WWE than I am in AEW. That's not a slight on AEW. But it's just the lay of the land.
I'd never expect him to leave New Japan in the first place. And the last place on earth I'd expect expect him to pop up as WWE. So that's naturally, I guess, what I want to see most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see him versus Rollins so bad. So bad. Get well soon, Rollins, please.
Roman.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Just
two guys who win loads. Yeah. I didn't even think about
give them a whole
Roman.
pay-per-view themselves.
Yeah, Iron Man.
Right. Usos in the dark match.
Another wrestler signed with AEW. Brian Keith signing a deal according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. They don't know whether it's full-time or per show, but he has indeed signed a deal. AEW not yet released an Is All Elite graphic to confirm the signing. He's been on AEW and Ring of Honor several times in recent months. He started back in August of 2023. He had that match against Hangman on Rampage. He did Final Battle, competed in the Survival of the Fittest match. And he entered the Battle Royal during the AEW World's End 0 Hour pre-show. I didn't even remember him being in that. I like him, right? Normally I get like, oh, okay, it's another signing. But with this, at least it's not like an ex-WWE guy who's probably done the best work that they've done in their career. And then this is a guy, I think he's 32 years old. He's really, really talented.
And he's about to go have the best work of his career, right?
I think he's going to grow. So yeah, it's another name on an already bloated roster, but it's a really good name, and he does do really good work. So excited to see what he does. And we are finishing off. I just wanted to give this a nod, right? Because this was announced just a few hours ago, about 3 a.m. And a very exciting WrestleMania week match has been announced. This is outside of WWE, but obviously loads and loads of wrestling happening over WrestleMania week. Mustafa Ali versus Amazing Red has been announced for a Revolver and House of Glory's joint show on April the 5th in Philadelphia. House of Glory is, of course, Amazing Red's own promotion. I wanted to give some love to Amazing Red. That's the only reason that I've put this in here.
Have you seen the reports back from promoters regarding Mustafa Ali, like being on the indies is the highest demand they've seen for an ex-WWE talent coming straight out of the company in years?
Not surprised. And he's working everywhere.
And this is it. So this is legit. I think he's going to do the Cody. He's going to do the Matt Cardona. He's going to completely reinvent himself. And this is a massive, massive milestone for that. Going up against Amazing Red is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, he's working everywhere with some really, really prominent, great opponents. None better than Amazing Red, who can still go unbelievably well. It's just because I've been watching loads of old TNA at the moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we talk about, like, most underrated of all time, and people will go, like, Cesaro, William Regal.
Yeah.
And I normally give those answers. And it shows you just how underrated Amazing Red is. Because he's the answer. He's the actual answer. Yeah. Like this, what an absolute pioneer.
Pioneer of the modern style for sure, and definitely like the flag bearer heading into that whole era, that early era of X Division and man.
Just great stuff. I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see that one. That's one to keep an eye on. Anyway, that is it from us. Once again, do us a favor. New thumbnails. You'll have noticed on these videos, it's hard to get people to click something new. So if you can give us a like Spike, that'd be much appreciated. We've got loads of really, really good stuff coming up on the channel over the weekend. We have got every final elimination in Royal Rumbles ranked from worst to best going live tonight. We've got the rise and fall of CM Punk in AEW going live tomorrow afternoon. And then we've got what happened to that wrestler with the most controversial Royal Rumble outside of 2004 in WWE history, the 2014 Royal Rumble. Loads of stuff surrounding it. You all know what Rumble it is, so we've got Where Are They Now for that lot as well. Have a great weekend. Have a nice one. All right?
Tatty bye.
Tatty bye. See ya.